We created a single-tiered cake inspired by textile and embroidery art. We started by creating a wonderful texture similar to crepe on a fondant-covered styrofoam cake. This happened to be a double barrel, so it was 2 6-inch rounds. And then we followed up with a variety of airbrush colors painted on in watercolor style. We wanted to mimic the background that was already on the original embroidery textile art. So we're mixing a variety of blues and purples together in a light wash that's been diluted with Everclear. And then I'm coming back through with a bristle brush to add subtle lines and streaks in a vertical fashion. At the lower side of this particular art is a variety of vibrant colors. So I'm just coming back through now that the first layer has dried, and I'm adding those brighter purples, pinks, yellows, and teals. Now we're ready to get started with the wafer paper portion. So I started by airbrushing wafer paper of a vibrant pink with hints of purple. Airbrushing both sides of the paper fairly quickly will keep your paper from curling up on itself. And then we're just cutting those strips out in random strips, anywhere from about 1/2 inch to 1 inch wide. We're going to set those aside for the moment as we begin working the background. This is what we're trying to achieve around the entirety of the cake. So I'm starting with a little bit of buttercream icing here, and I'm just building up areas and then taking a palette knife to create subtle textures. I'm just mixing up some gum paste, and I'm keeping it fairly variegated so that we have that look of veining naturally in the individual leaves. And these will be ribbon leaves. If you've seen embroidery ribbons used in this particular art form, the strips of embroidery are basically like satin ribbon, and they're pleated on the ends to create little points that are then sewn directly to the fabric. I'll show you that here in a second. All right, so you see it's a nice little point that mimics a leaf. I take a strip, pleat the end, very much like you do a ribbon bow, and then pleat the other end. We add a little bit of dab and hold glue, and that will secure it, but I don't glue the whole thing flat. I glue only the 2 tips. Touching one tip to the cake and giving it a little bit of a bow, so I'm pulling the ribbon out. I'm adding the other tip to the cake as well. As the gum paste dries, it will maintain that shape, which appears to float over the top of the cake. Once those are on, we need to color them. I'm using an avocado luster dust that has hints of gold in it, and that gives me a true satin shine and makes it appear more like a satin ribbon. Now, the flowers are created by using wafer paper that are folded up in accordion style. The easiest way to do this is to spritz your wafer paper lightly with a small amount of water, and it makes it pliable, but not so much water that it makes it squishy and stick to each other. So small amounts of water at a time. And then I'm adding a little bit more water toward the bottom of the wafer paper pleats, and that allows that to fold in and stick to itself. I'm actually pretty rough on the wafer paper. Once I create the initial accordion folds, I then kind of crush it back and forth. And this is an example of spritzing it to make it a little more pliable, as well as making it stick together as I round it into a little cup shape. Once I have it pushed together, you should have a little cup like this. One more time, accordion, wrapped around, pushed together. Little spritz of water there at the back. This one didn't want to stick to itself as well. Choosing my placement. And I think it's a little too structured of an accordion, so I'm just beating up the flower a little bit. Choosing my placement, and since this is styrofoam, I'm having to drill the hole out. We're adding our wire with our nonpareils as our sprinkles, pushing it up into the styrofoam, placing it. And then we repeat this process. Spritz that paper, make it pliable, accordion fold. I don't know why this makes me think of hamsters. Accordion fold that wafer paper until you have a cup shape, and do this about 40 times to fill up the round of your cake. We also created pieces that were more of just a crushed up look. And we used this for various buds around the tops of the stems.